youngsters. Great chance here. That does it. Steve McGavin. And for the first time, Colchester United have won a major final.
Still Garcia, finally the company arrives and it's in! It's a freak-out goal from Ricardo Carvalho. Richard Garcia wants the credit and the shock is on at the bridge.
And it's promotion for Colchester United. They've made it into the Championship for the first time in 69 years.
Porter, being held, there is Porter, and that's Maka!
Welcome to Beyond The Barside, the podcast that covers all things Colchester United. A big thank you to those listening over on Apple, Spotify and YouTube. You're doing us a big favour there, but no bigger favour than those sharing the podcast on social media over on X, Instagram and Facebook. And I don't know about you two, but a 4-1 win at home to Barnet seems like a brilliant place to start. I'm joined as ever by Sight and Dave. Dave, what a win.
What a win. What a strange game of football.
Yeah, wasn't it?
I thought the first half was really quite poor, to be honest. And we took our moment, and that's the pleasing thing. I think throughout the whole game, actually, we'll come to the second half. But we spoke on last week's pod previewing the game about, two evenly matched teams going to be the teams that take the chances when they present themselves most efficiently. They'll come out on top, and we did. I mean, Reid got his chance. I thought he'd taken a touch too many because he had a chance to shoot and steadied himself. But then it was a great finish, smashed it into the far corner.
Mm-hmm.
Really good, and he was incredible yesterday. His 150th game, the club put up today, so nice milestone for him. Really deserved it. He was my man of the match. As you'll show on the graphic, he wasn't in size top 3, which I think is a scandal. Si, you have completely delegitimized yourself.
To be fair, it's because his standards are so high and he just produces.
Nice
stand out, is he?
It's certainly a cause for debate, but I was going to ask this question a bit later on, but it feels like a good point to ask it now, Dave. Arthur Reid's opener was superb. I thought it was at edge of the box, whips it into the corner, sets us on our way. Is he becoming what you could refer to as a big moment player for Colchester?
I think he definitely is. He's and part of it is probably, I think Danny alluded to it again in his post-match interview about what he's doing off the field. Just that increased professionalism, using Jack Payne as a bit of a template, a bit of a mentor. And you can see those type of players who are willing to do that, do the graft and the extra little bits off the pitch. And you can see Jack Payne is a moment's player as well. Because, like I said, moving on to the second half, this is my controversial clickbait opinion. You see, you won't believe what this person did. Click here, find out. I don't think Jack Payne was having a very good game until the penalty. He was
for big players.
Exactly, and that's exactly it. But it was not like he was really trying to get involved, and his radar was just a little bit off, I thought. But then, yeah, he's a moments player. We need players who will take the moments, and yeah, he did it 3 times. So yeah, great win, and yes, just goes to show the importance of having those type of players, sort of having the faith in them, and they will show up when they're needed. And Arthur Reid, you're exactly right to say, he has grown into that player. He sort of Macy, Tucker, Ellis, and Payne will always start if available. I think Reid is now in that category.
Yes, I'm inclined to agree. I think Arthur Reid had a really good game. He was in my top 3, Dave. So
I respect you.
You always go it's just so obvious, isn't it? It's like years ago, and the man of the match is George Moncur. George Monker's not the pitch, but the sponsors just gone for him because they know.
Yeah, Mark Yates used to get it quite a lot, regardless of how long of the game he'd actually played. But at the beginning of the game, Dave's alluded to it already, it wasn't the best first half we've probably had, probably up until the goal. We did have some breakaway moments. Reese had a decent breakaway and sort of shot straight at Slicker. It felt like for the first 20 minutes, we lacked composure in those one-on-one moments. We got into the positions that it was bread and butter stuff for Slicker really to deal with. Is that fair to say?
Totally. It went pretty much how we previewed the game, to be fair. We'd be two equally matched teams. We'd take the lead or then get pegged back. I think it was just kind of like finding our feet, trying different things, seeing what's going to work, see how we can create the space, and just almost dipping our toe in the water. And obviously, as Dave alluded to, Reed's goal was superb. We then had what is, to be fair, an uncharacteristic moment, as we've had the last few games, of a poor loss of the ball in a defensive area. We just could not recover. They were lucky the couple of players missed the ball, managed to get through, and obviously got back in the game close to half time. It's quite pivotal then looking forward to the second half. How are we now going to come out and respond? And this is probably the first game where we've had a bench in recent times that's strong enough to be able to come on and influence the game. And they proved that. Not just the two, obviously Finback and Goodwin, who came on at half time, but to be really honest, I know Jack Payne's got the plaudits for the hat trick, but personally, I think it's Jaden Williams was the guy who came on and changed the game. Not saying that Romeo was having a bad game at all.
No.
He wasn't. But I just think Williams was like, right, it's time for me to show you what I can do. My cameos so far have been pretty good, but I've got a bit longer on the pitch now. Watch this. And took it to him.
He certainly did. And again, someone I was going to go on to was Jaden Williams. He wins the penalty. He sets up Jack Payne for his third goal. I think you've already answered the question, but I'll ask it again in a sort of different framing. Does he deserve huge credit for shifting that momentum and really taking the game away from Barnet and sealing the win for Colchester?
Totally. He just gave us what we've been lacking in certain times down that wing, where not only we've got a player now who will take players on and get past them, has also got a bit of football intelligence, then cut back inside when needed or go wider when needed. He's got pace and strength, so he kind of combines, if you like, Samson and Kyrie's traits into one. Okay, maybe he's not as strong as Samson, not as fast as Kyrie's, but he's got a nice mix of both in his gameplay. And it'd be nice to see him maybe start on Saturday, just to see what he's like from the off. But Payne will get the plaudits, obviously, for the hat trick. But I do think if Williams hadn't come on, would have been looking at a different scoreline and potentially.
Potentially.
I agree. Cause we got into a bit of a holding pattern, like you said. Akachukwu, we played well, but it got to the stage where we were trying the same thing every time. There's 2 or 3 occasions he sort of had their defender, and Kyrie's as well. Sort of had defenders sort of stood up and didn't try and take him on, or just try to shot her across. It was blocked immediately. And Williams came on really direct, tried to beat his man. He did, won the penalty, and was really influential. We needed that because we weren't down the wings. We weren't getting as much penetration as we might have liked. I think we were speaking before we started recording. Kyrie's had a funny day, didn't he? There was I don't know if, obviously, the events of the transfer window happened relatively recently, but there was I don't feel like there was sort of a bit of a lack of conviction, like that finish you mentioned in the first half. It was just a little pass, and there was one where if you were to ask someone to write down what position they'd want Lisby in, it is with clean through with 30 yards of space in front of him. And he got it, and he went through. He just delayed and delayed and delayed, and the guy got back. He got a really good tackle in, to be fair to him. So I don't know if maybe that bit of stick he got at Barrow might be affected him more than it might. But hopefully, we've seen it already 2 or 3 times this season. when he has games like that, he does go away, work on it, and
Mhm.
generally comes back better. So I think it's another good bit of learning for him. But no, the second half, I think actually we definitely stepped up a level, particularly when Williams came on. But Barnet did us a bit of a favour by changing their formation,
Mhm.
which gave us more space in the areas we wanted more space. It was quite strange. I don't know if that's because their coach wasn't on the bench. If it feels weird that they made that decision, because in the first half they had a 4-1-4-1. They played the wingers. They kept their wide men high, which basically meant our fullbacks couldn't really support the attack as much as we'd like, and that kind of isolated Lisby and Akachukwu. Jack Payne didn't really have any space, so they didn't create much. But I think they did have quite a bit of control,
Mhm.
and the sort of it was Arthur's goal was really well worked to actually get through that structure that they had. In the second half, they went to 4-4-2, brought on a massive guy up front who Araujo, after his mistake, and again, what Danny said was absolutely right, especially with young players. It's not the mistake, it's the response. His response was brilliant.
His response
So
was brilliant.
Really, really impressed again with him.
Yes, we did.
But yeah, it meant but it really gave away their momentum, allowed us to play to be slightly more front-footed, and gave Jack Payne space.
Mhm. Yeah, the
And
change
we
of
absolutely
formation was
it
But I
did
think-
strange
but
one.
it did
In a
help us.
way, because it's working against them as well. Although they weren't giving us the space, they're also snuffling out their own space. I think they were
Yeah.
kind of like, we'll take a chance. Their wingers haven't done much, so we'll take a chance, give them a bit more pace, relying on them not doing much still to try and open our own channels up. But
Mhm.
obviously, backfired on them spectacular.
Yeah, and they brought Ollie Hawkins on at half time, as you mentioned, Dave, and then subbed him off towards the end.
Yeah.
He weren't happy. The shirt came off. He went straight down the tunnel. Just to go back to the equaliser, so they equalise quite easily. From where I was, it seemed like it was a bit too easy for them to score. The response was great, but is that something that we really need to hone in on as we approach, as Jack Payne called it, the business end of the season?
Well, he needs to be dropped, I think.
Yeah, just for that.
Because of that.
pure Willy
I'm
Wonder
disregarding
remark.
everything else he did on
Yeah.
Saturday afternoon. I think someone actually, sorry, I didn't have the name. Someone actually made that point on our.
It
on
was
the
Graham,
comments.
yeah, Graham
Graham.
did.
Thank you, Graham. But no, Jack, he's bang out of all of that.
I guess it's one of those that, yes, we've got to stop making stupid defensive mistakes. We were really, really bad for it at the beginning of the season. All we had to do to score against us was drop the ball at that post, and you'd have a man free. So we got that out of the system. In a way, at our level, it's going to happen. There's a reason a lot of these players are at League Two. Either young players learn their trades to then move up, or they're players that are good footballers at this level, but are prone to the odd mistake, hence why they're still playing down League Two. And then after we lose the ball, so they take full advantage of it. But even though they had a good bit of luck the way it went across our 6-yard box.
So I think Tucker was in the right place,
Yeah,
but
it's just-
someone else trying to make the challenge got a toe on it,
got the flight of the ball completely
which
differently.
wrong-footed Tucker and put him right.
Yeah, so I think it's one of those that, frustrating as it was, it looked like it was simple, but I think there's quite a few things that are aligned that in another game, just take one of those out, the ball doesn't go through, they don't score as easily. So it's just one of those, put that down to,
But
it happened. We went on and won the game.
those mistakes are the kinds of mistakes. It's really frustrating. It shouldn't happen, but it's such a basic error, which I don't think will be repeated.
No. But also
Raja's not
one of
going to do
those-
that again. It's like
Isn't
what
it?
you were referring to, Si. Sorry.
Yeah.
You're referring to like better players being available at the back post. That's more worrying because that's a systemic failure. When someone just does something like that, I mean, it happens. It's not going to happen again.
And like you say, the touch on the ball to take it away from Tucker, the player's got to try to do that, because they don't, then of course we're having the conversation of, well, why are the players not trying to defend the cross, stop the crosses, stop the crosses? So, do you know what I mean? You kind of, if you do, if you don't, it doesn't work out either way,
Yeah.
you're going to get sort of the criticism. So yeah, I think like Dave says there, it was a mistake. We dealt
Didn't
with
matter in
it,
the end.
and we've come away with it. And if anything, by winning 4-1, the learning curve of that mistake could actually help us going forward, because it's something they're now going to be aware of and hopefully looking to prevent in future games.
Yeah, no, great point. And one of the other points that was raised, spoke about Finn back, Jaden Williams. Danny made it clear that all of the subs that came on made an impact and shifted the momentum in the game. Will Goodwin came on. Danny referred to it as, in his opinion, his best game in a used shirt. He felt that he led the line really well and closed off sort of defensive channels that Barnet could have taken. He had chances. I feel like he should have scored. And I feel that sometimes Colchester are guilty of overplaying a little bit in the final third. I don't know what you think. But the observation that I had is Danny did not stop showing Will Goodwin support throughout that second half. He missed a chance really from quite close range that it went wide, and from my angle, it looked like he'd scored and he hadn't. Danny was so encouraging. It seems like he's really trying to build Will Goodwin up, build that confidence. But in the final, I know we've scored 4 goals, so this is a silly point to make, but it did feel like it could have been more, and it did feel like in some situations we took one touch too many. So the 2 questions are, do we take too many touches in the final third? And how did you rate Will Goodwin's performance?
Oh yeah, I think we've answered this in previous pods, haven't we? We do take too many touches in the final third. We sometimes just need to, just once we've done the first action, just made the space, sometimes just get it in, and you know, I'm sure it's something they're working on. But Will Goodwin, he did, as a front man, he did do well in regards to linking up play, I thought. So I do agree with Danny in that respect. That was his best game. I thought quite surprised he didn't come on earlier, because Samson was, after clattering the keeper, he was clearly limited. And there were a couple of times he couldn't really burst forward to support an attack or take a defender away for the last 10 or 15 minutes.
For that as well, didn't he? Which
it's always going to happen. It's always going to happen when the keeper gets there first.
So it was right in front of me. The ball, and anyone that is a ref can feel free to correct me on this in the comments. It's just sort of my opinion. The ball was in a reachable and playable position in front of Samson. His foot, I don't think, was particularly high. And Slicker's gone for the ball with the same level of velocity or force that Samson has. They both tried to play the ball. They clashed. Felt like a harsh booking, if I'm being honest. Yes, Samson got there slightly later than Slicker. Understand the free kick. But to book him, it just felt a bit ridiculous.
I mean, at the speed he was going, when there's a keeper involved, if Samson had got there just ahead, where it was, because he wouldn't, I don't know, but if his touch had taken him out wide, if Samson had got there first, the keeper would have got booked. It was the same thing. So when there's a keeper involved, always the referees just always
they always protect the goalkeepers. They've completely right on that one.
Yeah.
But with going back to Goodwin, he did as it was his best game as a front man, with his link play, some really good touches, kept possession well, but he should have scored 2 goals. Both of them he should have buried.
I felt the same, and he came on. I thought he played well. I thought he really did put a shift in, as did Finn back, as did Jaden Williams, as did Finley Barbrick, who didn't really get a mention in any of the post-match interviews, either with Danny or Jack Payne. But Danny did say that the boys off the bench were the real heroes, and he did name Finn back, Will Goodwin and Jaden Williams. Does that show that squad depth is emerging?
Yes. That's what we've spoken about for the previous weeks, is the front of houses, like the first 11, are capable of getting the playoffs, are capable of pushing through and winning the playoffs. We were lacking with options on the bench and players to maybe push the starting 11 for position, whereas now we've got that. The fact that we've all these players have come off the bench and have made a case of potentially being the starting 11 on Saturday and have come on and put their stamp on the game and ultimately gone on and won us the game, shows it's there. And then on top of that, you've still got like sort of Embick, Addison, Ellis to come back. It will start getting to the stage where actually Danny's going to have problems not only selecting the first 11, but also selecting his bench, which is an amazing position to be in. Yes, it'll give him a headache, but a positive headache rather than just putting bodies on the bench hoping we haven't got to use them.
Yeah, and it will definitely force him to prioritise some of the loan signings that we've made when Micah is fit and available, because we have 6 signed to the club. We can only name 5 in a match day squad. So that does make the benches in particular really interesting. I think you named a few players earlier, Dave, that are pretty much undroppable when fit. In many respects, the starting 11 sort of picks itself, or at least like 8 of the 11 pick themselves. So really, the sort of guesswork comes on the bench, I think, and who actually makes the match day squad. And with players coming back from injury, that makes it far more interesting to see who gets left out of the squad altogether.
It's hard to gauge, isn't it? Because I would, this is Col U, so it's never going to happen. If everyone was fit,
Yeah.
you'd argue it would probably, and not due to performance, because I think every time he's come on, he's been excellent. But it would probably be Finn back.
Yeah, and
Ellis would be in. You'd have Cayman Young on the right, or Rob Hunt.
And you'd probably want Rob Hunt on the bench if he's not starting for versatility.
Exactly. So that, and Akachuk was coming and done so well, and to give us that sort of bit of physicality up on the wings as well, potentially. Because, if Mbik's fit, doesn't mean Samson starts.
No.
Well, so it's all good, but I
don't think it's
he'd be really unlucky. I think he'd be really unlucky, but everything considered, everyone available, I think it was just process of elimination. It would be Finn back.
It'd be an interesting one, and I think, as Jack Payne said, as we enter the business end of the season, we're going to have some interesting lineups and a bit more debate on socials in terms of who gets picked and who gets left out. Dave, there were 3 penalty incidents. 1 was given, 2 weren't. Will Goodwin and Kyrese Lisby both had shouts for a penalty. They were the opposite end to me, so I don't really have too strong of an opinion either way, but you guys were a bit closer to the action. Dave, were either of them penalty shouts, or were they both right to be waved off?
Couldn't really see Goodwin, so I would have had a better view of that than me. But I thought Lisby did have a good shout. The defender certainly had a hold of him. Whether or not Kyrie's went down a bit easier, I'm not sure, but the guy was prevented from going through. So I thought that one was going to be given. But and I was actually watching it live. I wasn't entirely sure Williams was a stone wall penalty, but having watched the replays and the highlights, I think they're always going to be given. So he did really well there. But yeah, Sy Goodwin's, he got booked for diving, didn't he?
Yeah, so to me, it was not a penalty, but at the same time, it wasn't simulation. It was 2 players tussling for the ball. The way it worked out and Tangle got in, I don't think Goodwin can have done anything other than end up on the floor. He didn't do it in order to try and convince the referee or anything. I think he just did it purely due to physics. So I think referee got it right with not giving a penalty, but got it wrong with the booking. And then the Kyrese one, it goes back to referees not being brave enough to give and penalise defenders for holding unless a player goes down. Therefore, it's forcing players under contact, under that sort of weight, if you like, to have to go down to bring it to the referee's attention. So yes, he's gone down lightly, but he's always got to, because if you stay on your feet, referees, rightly or wrongly, will not give them. So you're kind of caught in no man's land there about what you do.
Yeah, you are, and it's a difficult one because if you do go down, there's always that potential of, oh, they've gone down too easy. And if you're trying to play on, it will never get brought back. If they've played advantage, it will never get brought back for the free kick or the penalty. So yeah, it's a difficult position to be in. But we'll round it off on a high, Dave. Jack Payne's hat trick, second hat trick of the season, capped it off, including that late finish from Jaden Williams' pass. You said that you didn't feel like he was having a great first half up until he scored. But that second half performance, was it one of the best we've seen from Jack Payne in a youth shirt?
Well, he was really involved. And even when, like I said, I think through the first half, his radar was just a little bit off. Like his free kicks were sort of overhit and his passes were just not quite on target. Not quite allowing us to sort of the transitions to flow when we did get the chance because Barnet's were quite compact in the first half. But come back to it. To have a player like Jack Payne, who when we get into those areas and when the moment is big, you're confident that it will take those moments. Because when he went, I think the third goal was my favourite goal, which was, I'm not sure it's quite there, but it's got a bit lost. I've not seen many people mention it. Teddy Bishop's pass. Not quite a Teddy Bishop moment, but it was a fantastic pass.
Teddy Bishop event.
That was the second goal. That was the second one, wasn't it?
His second.
Bishop got this, I think, the second.
Payne's.
And Dave, and that's why you rate him, Dave.
That's why I rate him. I might have mentioned, but
it's still a go.
It was. No, it was a fantastic pass and a beautiful finish. Really great finish on his wrong foot, and then going through. I thought Jack Payne was actually going to, for his hat trick, I thought he might be looking across to put something in because it was a 2-on-1. I don't know what their left back was doing. We're playing both of them on side by a long way. But no, you could tell the confidence just coursing through him. He just sort of smashed in at the far corner. Really, really good finish. But no, it feels really comforting to have a player like that, doesn't it? Who
it certainly does. Someone that can change the game and make it, grab it by the scruff of the neck, so to speak. I put it out there for one-word reviews. We had a few back. We had Harry, who went with belief. Nathan went with trajectory. Rob went with purpose. Gav, along with a few other people, went with Williams. And Dino went with pandemonium.
Yeah,
all right. There you go. But Si, what's your one-word review?
I'll be thinking hard about this one. I'm going to sound like I'm copying Dino, but mine was Jaden-tastic because of how good Jaden Williams was.
Yeah, you've been really good on these this season, Si, but Dino's
done you there. Yeah.
I know, but I was already I've got no other ones because I've already had that one in my head all day, and Dino just
Jaden-tastic. Is there a play on words?
No, Jaden. This needs workshopping.
That's it.
Yeah, we can't workshop, but we'll be here forever. Okay, Jaden-tastic. Dave, what are you going for?
I've said it a couple of times. I think I'm going to say moments. We went. Yeah, it was a game of moments, and our big players stepped up and took theirs when we needed them to.
Definitely, and I mean 4-1 rounds off a reaction that started on the Tuesday night away at Cambridge United. But of course, Colchester will be looking ahead to the Salford City game, which is the club's dedicated HerGameToo fixture. For those of you who aren't aware of HerGameToo, HerGameToo is an initiative that promotes inclusivity and diversity within football, mainly surrounding gender issues, but it covers a whole wide range of issues, and the overarching purpose is to make supporters feel included when they come and watch Colchester United. And Si and Dave and I were very lucky to speak to our HerGameToo ambassador Louise and Colchester United striker Daisy on their opinions. Welcome back to Beyond the Barside, and of course Colchester United will be playing Salford City at home at the JobServe Community Stadium. And that game is our dedicated HerGameToo fixture. HerGameToo is an initiative that promotes inclusive spaces and diversity within football. And I'm very lucky to be joined by our HerGameToo ambassador, Louise, and Colchester United striker, Daisy. How are you doing?
Hi, fine, thank you. Hi, guys. Good, thank you.
Good. So, Louise, you're the club's HerGameToo ambassador. For those who may not know what HerGameToo is, what is the initiative and how did it start?
Okay, so it started about 5 years ago. It was started by some female football fans who had all experienced not very nice circumstances at football games themselves, some not very nice sexist remarks, and just some of them just didn't feel comfortable going to games at all. And they started this initiative, and it's basically just grown and grown and grown. It's fantastic. I think at the moment we've got 81 of the 92 league teams have ambassadors. And yeah, it's just to make everyone feel comfortable at the games, feel that they can attend games and not have to worry about dealing with anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And the work they do is fantastic. We do the dedicated fixtures. This will be our second one with Colchester United, which is great. And they do first time fans initiatives, and they just try and run things. There's a lot of females actually when they sort of ask them, they don't feel comfortable going to football matches. And I find that really sad. As someone that's been a fan since I think I could just see over the wall at Layer Road when I first started going. I'm really pleased. I think at Colchester United we don't have that problem. I've certainly never experienced it, and I'm really pleased to say we haven't had any reports of it. So in terms of our club, I feel quite proud that I think that we are really inclusive. But there are sadly a lot of clubs that they're still having problems.
Yeah, and I think it's really important to highlight that Colchester United are in a very fortunate position that you don't tend to see some of the behaviours that you do see in online spaces and other clubs within the stands as well. So some people may be seeing the fact that it's a HerGameToo fixture and being a bit confused as to why Colchester United are involved, because it's not something they necessarily see directly. But unfortunately, at other clubs, and it's something that I often notice in online spaces when you look at sort of football based Facebook or X or Instagram accounts, the portrayal of male and female supporters, they're very different, and the tone is very different. So it's great that there are initiatives like the HerGameToo initiative that can make it a safe space for everyone. Daisy, obviously you're involved with the club in a playing perspective, playing for the women's side. You're in quite a purple patch of form at the moment, although with an injury in the middle, I'd like to add. I have it down as 10 goals in 7 appearances this season, which is an incredible stat to have. How's the season gone for you so far?
I think the girls were really welcoming when I come along. I sort of found my feet straight away. I had a great game at Toby in particular. I scored 4. I sort of then broke my foot and I've had a break. But the girls held up really well. I think in regards to the league, we've been very hit and miss this season. But we've had injuries and players in and out. But the cup run's gone really well. We've made the semi-final today. So yeah, been a very up and down season in regards to league, and probably a long way to go competing for that. But we're having a great cup run, and there's still lots to play for. And I'm just returning from, really, I think my 4th game back from injury. So I felt good today, felt sharp, and found the net, which I was struggling to do. So yeah, I think moving forward in the next season or two, I think big things could come for the ladies' side.
Hopefully so. And you played Toby today in the Essex Shield semi-final.
Yes, semi.
And quarter-final, you've moved into the semi-final. The HerGameToo fixture on Sunday is also against Toby. You've played them a few times this season. It's sort of been a little bit of a rivalry, hasn't it? Where, the U's have have come out on top in a few games, but Toby have as well. What's that rivalry been like?
So I think first game week we played really well. We had a big result against them, and then we played them again back to back quite soon the next week, and I broke my foot around 20 minutes in. And I think the dynamics of the field sort of changes. You start and we couldn't continue, and I think that game was quite an off game for us. But Toby is a team that it's a very good battle out there, and I think today was very very close. So I think next week they'll look to come and try and beat us, but ultimately we have to sort of stand tall and try and beat them this week, because it's sort of 2-1 to us at the moment with a game in hand. If they beat us, then it's the rivalry sort of sticks. We want to nip that in the bud with Toby.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously, you mentioned the inconsistency at the beginning of the season. To get a nice run of form together for both the men's and women's sides would be invaluable in how that season finishes and how the table looks. Louise, as Colchester's HerGameToo ambassador, I mean, what does your role entail? Obviously, we've spoken about the Salford game and the Toby game being the dedicated HerGameToo fixtures, but what does that mean? A, for you having to organise something like that, and B, for the supporters attending. What's different for the supporters on those games?
So it is quite a lot to pull together. I think last year we had our very first HerGameToo dedicated fixture, and I had a week to organise it because I came on board as a ambassador a week before. So last year we managed to get a sponsor, and the players had warm-up t-shirts which they wore. They looked fantastic last year. This year, yes, we've got loads more support from you guys on Beyond The Barside as well, which is great. So the players have got their warm-up t-shirts again. We've got loads of merchandise to give away this year because we just want it to be a bit more visible as well. But I guess the whole point that I came on board was I've obviously supported the youth since I was tiny. My dad supported them, my granddad, it's a generational thing. And now my 12-year-old daughter comes to the games as well. And when I first heard about HerGameToo and the club approached me about being ambassador, I just got to thinking about my daughter and how would I feel if she never felt comfortable going to a football game, which again, because I've never personally experienced it, I don't think we have that at Colchester United, but it got me thinking, how would I feel if she didn't feel safe to go to a football game? So that for me, that was why it was really important for me to be the ambassador. But I also wanted to be there for our female fans. So if anything ever did happen, they'd got someone that they could come to. We've got an amazing reporting system through HerGameToo. We're actually teamed up with Kick It Out as well. So they help in situations. Sadly, this year, they've had more reports this season, at this point of the season, than they've ever had before. So it proves that there's a lot of work to do around the club still. However, we're really pleased that the reporting system is actually working. It was really important for me to be involved from a mum point of view, and wanting everyone to feel safe. It is a lot. Like I say, it's a lot to pull together, but I've had some fantastic support from the CRSA as well, my army, so many people that I've got to thank this year as well, with Gazette and BBC Essex as well. So we're getting lots of coverage out there, and I just want people to come along, enjoy the day. Like I say, we've got lots of things to give away. We've got flags and badges for everyone, and and we might even have a couple of special guests as well, being able to give out the giveaways. But I can't say too much at the moment.
It's nice of you. It's nice of you to call us special guests, though.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think Dave's
Dave
ever
had
been.
the bag, mate. That's
Don't worry. Don't worry.
Regard that as special.
Yeah.
If Dave is the special guest,
Special guest as well as Dave.
as well as
We're
Dave.
we're in negotiations.
Yeah.
Special
But we're
guest,
gonna
formerly
be
known as Dave.
we're going to be an Eggie's Nest, and we've got all these things to give away. And just if anyone wants to come up and have a chat and speak to me about anything, then that'd be great. We've got a selfie frame so people can have their photos done. All of the clubs that have ambassadors are having their dedicated fixtures around this time, because we try and do it around International Women's Day. So over the next few weeks, there'll be quite a lot online from all the different clubs that are joined with ambassadors. So it's really good. And this year as well, to be able to do a double header. So we've got the women's game on Sunday, which is also going to be a HerGameToo fixture. And to make it really special, our front of shirt sponsors for the women's team are Alderwood Care Home. And Doris, who lives at Alderwood, she's a huge women's football fan. And Doris is actually going to come along to the game on Sunday, and she's going to lead the teams out onto the pitch for the fixture.
Brilliant. And Doris has had a few mentions on the podcast already this season, so I'm glad she gets to lead the team out on that particular fixture.
She's got an amazing bond with them, I will say. The team is fantastic when Doris comes to the games as well, but she brings her drum and she cheers them on, and it's just a really lovely the fact that we've had that relationship with them now, and that they wanted to sponsor the shirts for the women's team is amazing. And I just feel like it's one of those connections now that we'll always have with Alderwood, which is lovely.
And those connections are really important, aren't they? Particularly when you're a club that are, growing, obviously with the promotions and with sort of the overall aim of sort of climbing up the football pyramid. Having those relationships in place are really, really useful in building a community and a fan base. But Daisy, obviously you've played football for a few years now. I know you've worked with Si previously, so I'm very sorry to hear that. But other than that, I'm sure you've enjoyed lots of success. But I'm keen to know, in your opinion, we've seen a huge growth in the popularity of women's football, in the amount of people playing, participating, watching women's football. I'm interested to know how you've seen the game evolve sort of on a local scale within the local community.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, way back when I was a child, there wasn't sort of the facilities we've got now. We've got the Wildcat Centres that encourages young girls to get involved younger. Lots and lots more girls teams at your local grassroots clubs locally now. Going back 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, there'd be the odd girls team. Now there's probably a girls team at every age group, especially in the local area of Clapton. But yeah, I think there's just more opportunity for young girls now. It's more of a career path. I know when I first started out at Arsenal many, many years ago, the career path wasn't as solid and structured as it is now. So the growth in women's football has been huge. But there's more to aspire to now, lots more sponsorship involved. And you definitely see more girls involved in coaching. When I run multiple sessions around Clapton, it's very mixed now. Lots of girls turning up, not just, the odd 1 or 2 girls coming to sessions, lots and lots of girls. So definitely more available.
Yeah, and it's great that sort of that participation at that participation level, the opportunities being able to increase, just sort of it filters up, doesn't it? It enables people to have those opportunities to break into those academy sides. And I think we're very lucky in the east of England that there are a few different clubs and initiatives that do get young girls into football, and that's always a brilliant thing to see. Louise, there's obviously loads of positive things around A, women's football, and B, sort of women in football generally. As you've said, there is still work to do. There's always going to be, things that we'd like to be better, and hopefully we can always support people in ensuring that happens. But what are some of the challenges that women are still facing in football spaces, and how can fans help create a more inclusive environment?
That's a good question.
Sorry.
Several parts to that question. Okay. I don't know where to start. You've asked a really good question there.
That makes a change.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, look how dumbfounded people are.
Yeah, that's why we were looking really confused.
Absolutely.
39 episodes in.
Yeah. Well done, Aaron. Well done, mate. You've got there.
So I think one of the things I will say that I've experienced myself this year, that I think definitely needs to change, and it's not regarding female fans actually, it's regarding the female referees and lines people.
Mm-hmm.
I think social media it's really bad for that. I mean, I think after we had a female official there was a lot of negativity on all of the social media platforms about that particular official. And I think it's really, I'm trying to watch how I word this, but it's really frustrating because I just think that actually a lot of the time we don't have great refs in League Two, full stop.
Yeah, we don't.
So I don't necessarily think that it's anything to do with the fact that it was a lady or a woman. So that part of things, I think, yeah, we really need to work on that as, as fans, because totally understand if a referee is having a terrible game. I'll also hold my hands up, have been known to sort of, the referee. But I think, yes, that's fair enough. If you're going to say the same things that you'd say to male referee, that's fine. It's when it starts turning and, and it is disappointing because, I sit there with my daughter and I just think I don't want her to hear anything being said about, because it shouldn't be about the fact that the official was a woman.
No.
It's just, and that's something that definitely needs to change. And something else on a personal level is some of the chants that come out aren't, they're not the best either. Again, we don't at Colchester United, I don't think we have. There's a couple, but there's not too many. But I know from speaking to other ambassadors at other clubs that there's a lot of chants out there that are chanted, and there's sort of, there's sexist chants, and there's a lot. I mean, we deal with it with racism in football as well, right? So it's not just the sexism side. So it's just things like that. I think it's just educating people to make the whole thing so that nobody feels excluded or nobody feels uncomfortable in any sport, not just, and we're not talking about just football, because HerGameToo actually are across all different sports now as well.
Yeah.
But obviously from my point of view, it's Colchester United. I'm Colchester United's ambassador, so it's the football side, but they're going across all sports, because I think, it is something that, for generations younger, we just need to do it right, and we just need to remember the influence we're having on other people.
Certainly. Yeah, definitely. And I believe, Si, we spoke about this. Was it after the MK Dons game, the FA Cup fixture, where you've quite rightly highlighted that we've had some terrible officials this season, and the fact that you seem to think that there was a bit more backlash towards the female official that we had after that game. And I think the Barnet game only goes to prove that we get terrible officials regardless of gender. It really isn't a gender specific issue.
Was it last year that we had that female liner? And she was probably the best we've had at our place for a good couple of seasons.
Yeah.
Last season before, but she really stood out to me. Actually, she knows what she's doing. So
Yeah,
there
but
are
you get
definitely decent ones there. Same as everything, is that you got good and bad. But I
Well,
think
you're
it's
absolutely right.
because the majority of people that come out with that sort of stuff are just so stuck in the sort of 80s footballing culture, they're not realizing that, look, society's moving on. There's new things that come along. You need to get with the times.
And I think having an air of perspective to it as well. And as you say, it isn't just sort of anything related to gender specifically. There's issues around race and sexuality that sometimes people can be either insensitive or in other ways quite nasty to people in certain spaces. There's a air of perspective that potentially needs to be considered. How would you feel if you felt uncomfortable or victimized at a place that you're going to escape in many ways? Football is escapism for lots of different people, whether you're going to spectate, coach or play. It allows you to sort of be away from the pressures of the world for 2 hours. And if that's taken away from you, that really isn't fair. Daisy, visibility is important, I think, particularly in football. Initiatives like the HerGameToo are brilliant in raising visibility, but we're in a position now where the women's side are growing, and that visibility could be really important in helping the club development, in helping the club's development. Do you feel like getting more people on board and watching the U's is an important thing?
Yeah, I think U's have quite a good fan base over their games, but I think we're always welcoming in for more. I think there's I've seen lots of negative feedback on social media platforms. I think like we all have in regards to gender, and stuff like that. But I think our social media page in particular, the women's one's a lot of praise really for the women and how hard they work. But yeah, I think it's really important that the fans keep coming, and the more people that know, that talk, that turn up, yeah, and the more people that we can get to look up to us and hopefully join the club or the academies or just get involved in football. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and how brilliant would it be to have some people potentially come into Colchester United either on Saturday or Sunday for the very first time, have a wonderful time and get involved there and then as a supporter and as a player and join the U's. That can only strengthen the community. Louise, if someone wants to support HerGameToo over the weekend, you've mentioned the merchandise in Eddie's Nest, but what simple steps can they take to show their support on the day?
Come along to the games. Absolutely. I mean, especially on the Sunday at the women's game, we don't charge entry for our Colchester United women's games. I don't know if people are actually aware of that. We play at the Garrison as well, which is a fantastic facility that we've got over there. And our gates are growing. We are definitely seeing more people come along and support, which is fantastic. But just to come along, support, know that you're safe, know that you'll feel included at the ground. And it would just be really, really nice for people to just come along and just feel part of it. Like you say, it's so important. It's not just men that go to football just to escape at the weekends and watch a game of football. It's women too, it's children. And that is our time. And I think, like I say, I know I've said it again loads of times, but I just genuinely am so thankful to be a U's fan, because I feel like we are a real sort of football community, and I feel like the people we sit with in the family enclosure are like a little football family, and I think that's just special. I think we really do have a special feel at our club. I think that's grown even more with Danny and Nikki, and I know that they'll obviously get behind the HerGameToo fixtures as well at the weekend, which is fantastic. But I think, yeah, just come along, get some merchandise this year. That's have a giveaway. But for the kids, I think especially last year when we had the dedicated fixture, we had like a selfie board that people could take photos with. And the nicest thing was, yes, we had lots of little girls come up and say, "Oh, can we have our photos with the selfie board?" We actually had quite a lot of young lads come up and ask about HerGameToo. They wanted their picture taken with the selfie board. And there's parents coming over and wanting to know a bit more about it. And that's all that we can ask, is that people come along, and if they want to know more about it, come and see us, come and find out. I mean, at the end of the day, we're all going to be there to support the U's. So
Yeah,
it's a collective.
brilliant. And I think that's the perfect message to round this off on, because I hope that lots of people get the opportunity to find you in Eddie's Nest and grab some merchandise and speak to the special guests and Dave.
And Dave.
Over the weekend's fixtures. But I'd encourage anyone, if they can, to do a little bit of research on what the HerGameToo initiative is, grab some merchandise, and ultimately, get 3 points on the Saturday and Sunday. Daisy, Louise, thank you very much for joining us and sharing your insights.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Huge thank you to Louise and Daisy there. And if you are involved, you may see a special guest on Saturday, as well as Dave handing out some of the HerGameToo merchandise and promotional stuff. You may even see a Beyond The Barside logo or two, as we are proud supporters of the HerGameToo initiative. But Salford, Dave, could be a tricky game. They're 8th in League Two. They're 3 points ahead of us. They've got a worse goal difference. their form's not great. I'll be honest. You know, they've not played overly well over the last 5 games. But to bring a football cliche into it, and I know you hate them, that's why I ask you, is this a 6-pointer?
I think it's exactly the same as it was with Barnet. It's more it's a 6-pointer, not directly with Salford, but with the playoff places. More for us than them this time, obviously, because they're slightly ahead of us. But yeah, it seems like a good time to play them. I think they've lost 4 in a row, maybe 5 in a row. They're playing, we're recording on the Sunday. They're playing Shrewsbury, and who would have thought it 2 weeks ago when we played them? Shrewsbury are the form team in the league now. So
Gavin
interesting to see how
Cowan's
that
turned
game.
it around, isn't
He
he?
has.
We were sort of the catalyst, I think.
Yeah, so I thought they should be thanking us for that.
Yeah, they've sort of sorted it out since. So yeah,
We gave 'em.
potentially you would have said earlier in the season they've got Shrewsbury Tuesday night, so they'll come off a win there.
With momentum,
Not a guarantee now.
No, it's not now, and even then they're it's a tricky. I think they're away. So, I might be wrong, but it's a Tuesday night game. So we'll have more time to recover. We'll have, we might be lucky enough to see, 1 or 2 players back from injury. I'm not sure. I think if any would be available, it might be Ellis, but I'm not sure. Just away from what Danny and the people in the club have been saying. But yeah, we're in better form than them. They are a streaky team. Carl Robinson's again. I feel like we're a subsidiary for not the top 20, but some of their stats, and they always mention that Carl Robinson is a great manager at this level, but his teams are streaky.
Yeah, they are.
They will have 10-game periods where they're winning every week. Which will be followed up by similar runs with poor results. So hopefully we're going to find them slap bang in the middle of the latter.
Hopefully, it would
we'll
be really nice. It would be really
Yeah.
nice for that to be the case. And you're right, Carl Robinson does sort of pull runs of wins together that ultimately has a big effect on where that side finishes at the end of the season. If
And they
he
did
can
the same
pull,
last year.
yeah,
But about when they lost to City in the FA Cup, they went on a 7-game losing streak.
Mhm.
So they lost to City. They'll play 3 games by then, by the time they play us. So hopefully we'll be number 4 on that streak.
They did play well against City this year. They got hammered last year, didn't they? Like 8-0, wasn't it? But this year, I think it was 2-0, and actually they played well. They had a lot of chances.
City only played 6 players.
But they didn't play Man City at the weekend, Si. They lost 3-2 to Cheltenham. Cheltenham seem to be, again, picking up a tidy bit of form there. But Luke Garbett saw red, straight red, so he shouldn't be available for the Colchester game.
I'm not sure. We need to... I think because it wasn't violent conduct or serious foul play...
What was it, a professional foul?
It was a professional foul, but because it was a pullback, so sorry to teach everyone to suck eggs. When with the old double jeopardy, if you did a professional foul in the box, it was a penalty and a red card. They soften that by saying if you're making a genuine attempt at the ball and you make the foul, it's a penalty and a yellow card. It doesn't seem fair to have that double whammy. Now, I think because it was a pullback, it was deemed not to be going for the ball, so it was a straight red. I think, and I might be wrong, I think because it wasn't violent conduct or serious foul play, it's 1 game.
Unless, I think as well, if it's your second.
Yeah, I don't
red,
think.
if it's second
Yeah,
streak,
so that would
3.
be 2 games.
Yeah, that would be so.
But I don't know. So anyway, what can we? So
it's an interesting one then, isn't it, Si? Because we could have Luke Garbett playing. We could not have Luke Garbett playing.
But it's important because he always seems to come up, doesn't he?
Exactly.
He scored the winner up at their place.
So what is the impact then, Si? If he plays or if he doesn't?
I think I say it most weeks. He plays. He plays. If he doesn't play, he doesn't play. He's another player. I think it's more from a fan's point of view. We seem to have these sort of bogey players or bogey sides that we feel, oh my God. Whereas Danny and Nicky are going to go into it like they always do. They could do their due diligence on Salford set up with him, Salford set up without him, Salford set up in X way, Salford set up in Y way. And we've got to go into it and play our game, our way, do our thing, get the home crowd behind us early doors. And if we can take the finishing 15 minutes from Barnet into the Salford game from the off, Salford are going to be in for a very long, painful afternoon. And I also feel they do lose, fingers crossed, to Shrewsbury on Tuesday, then an early goal against could well just knock them and their confidence. They're almost like, oh, okay, here we go again. Another streak, they've thought, and make the most of it. So I think we've got to come out the blocks hard and fast, like we do at home. And yeah, I don't think there's anyone really needs to necessarily worry about Target. They've got some good players. Obviously, Garbutt does play. He will be one of their key players. But again, it's more just do our job and do it well and have faith in our back line to be able to keep them nullified, and our forwards are going to do their job and hopefully, as Dave says, do the basics well, not take a touch too many, not try to be too clever, and just, take the game to them.
They're very strong
Hopefully
wide.
so,
It would
yeah.
be nice. Yeah, it would be nice if Ellis was available because their wingers are very strong.
Yeah, I mean, they are a squad that is packed with talent.
Depth as well, haven't they?
It's huge. And Dave, I mean, I'm looking at a few now. Obviously, Carl Robinson, experienced manager at this level. He's had a lot of success at different clubs. They've got George Grant, they've got Ben Woodburn, they've got Osama Ashley, Fabio Barini, amongst a plethora of talented players that at this level seems ridiculous to have a squad built up of them, but it doesn't always seem to click.
No.
They're a very streaky side. But is there anyone that worries you more than someone else?
Well, like I said, the wide
in
player. I
this
think
team?
Grant was really good against us. I think it was really influential when we played up there. Always looked that something could happen when he had the ball.
He's always he's always caused us problems.
Yeah.
I remember when he was at Notts County, he,
Yes.
did
Yeah,
a
he was
number on
brilliant.
us a couple of times.
Yeah, and and that game. I mean, one thing. I mean, how many? If you look back through Salford's results, how many of their games have been 3-2s, 4-3s? I mean, we had it, and we had a mad 15 minutes up at their place. We played so well in getting to 3-1 up, and then just lost it. It was one of those. It happens. Let it go. But they have a lot of weapons going forward. They spent a lot of money, a lot of the class of '92's money. Nearly £500,000 on a striker from Fleetwood, who I think has started quite well. But yeah, we can definitely get at them. They are there to be got at. Imagine they'd be showing confidence unless they do something extraordinary against Shrewsbury. So yeah, this is it. Again, I'm jinxing it. It feels like this game's come at a good time.
It certainly does. And to come away from Salford a little bit and focus on Colchester, we've alluded to it already. There is potential for Harry Anderson, Micah Mbick and Ellis Dolo to be nearer to a return. Si, how important could their comeback be for this? I won't call it business end, Dave, because I'm speaking to Si.
Thank you.
For this second half of the season.
So I think if you were to put the three players into order, it'd be number one you want back as soon as would be Ellis, then Mbick, and then Anderson. Don't get me wrong, before Anderson got injured, he was probably up there for his play of the season, he's in the form of his life. But we've got more options down wide. There's plenty of players that you see can do the job and come in. Against any side, you're going to want Ellis at left back just because of what he brings defensively on the transition and the balls he could play going forward. And obviously, Mbick, there's been times when we've maybe not been clinical enough in front of goal without him. And you'd like to see him back to maybe bring that injection back into the side, especially obviously he's been out injured for a while. So you'd like to think he'll come back in hungry for goals. And maybe just gives that little bit of extra to push us over the line. How likely we are to see it? I don't know. I know you got to try and read between the lines with Danny sometimes, but what he says about his injuries, etc. Before I can sort of see is Mbick's the closest, so we could well see him. But any of them that do feature, I think, will be on the bench and look to play them for maybe the last 15, 20 minutes, not to actually have to throw them into the game early and risk reoccurrence injuries if they're only 85% fit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's a good position to be in a sense of, yes, you want Ellis to be back as soon as possible, but we do have the squad where we can gradually bring these players in and manage their return a bit more sensibly than perhaps we have been able to do in the past, because we've had that real urgent need to get them back into the squad. And although I feel like the need is there, it's not as urgent as perhaps it has been in recent months, seasons, years, whatever. But another name that could potentially feature on the team sheet, Dave, is Jaden Williams. He came on, he was exceptional out wide. I mean, it's not his natural position. We know him as a centre forward, but he's come on out wide, put a really good shift in. I mean, he was our creative outlet. He shifted the momentum of the game, won the penalty for the second goal, set up Jack Payne for the fourth goal. I mean, as far as cameos go, short of scoring a goal, it was pretty much perfect. Does he warrant a start after the impact against Barnet?
I think so. I'd be surprised if he doesn't, to be honest, after everything you've just described. And just he's a young player. He's found chances limited, just due to factors of other players playing so well and in his favourite position. But yeah, to come on, have that sort of impact, have that sort of the universal praise he's had throughout the Col U media sphere. I think he will start, and it's not from a man management perspective. If he comes on, does that, you say young players especially, come on, make an impact, show us what you can do, and he did.
Yeah.
So it would be very surprising if he was on the bench. And Akachukwu did okay. I'm sure he's on loan. I'm sure Danny and Nicky have made him absolutely aware of what they're going to try and do with him. He might get a start if he's had 2 starts in his first 3 games, and played a big part against Cambridge. So yeah, I think again, and we've said it. If we said it once, said it 1,000 times. Danny and Nicky's man management skills are second to none.
Yeah,
So.
and what a precedent to set for younger players, that you come on, you take your chance, we then give you the reward of starting the next game. I mean, you then think of all the players that are on the fringes of the side. They're going to want to get their chance and grab it with both hands. So that's certainly something that you'd hope that Danny and Nicky would want to develop amongst the camp, that once they get their opportunity and take it, they're then rewarded with what comes next. So I hope to see Jaden Williams play as well. I thought he was exceptional, and I really hope that he gets that opportunity to play. But we'll round it off with some predictions. Salford potentially on a poor run of form. I know we don't know the result between the Shrewsbury game, but even if they win, it's still 2 out of their last 6. So potentially 1 out of their last 6. So, I wouldn't say they're in a purple patch by any stretch of the imagination. So it's certainly a winnable game for Colchester, touch wood. So Dave, what are you going for?
Like I said, I think it's a good time to play them. I think we will win. Not sure if we'll keep a clean sheet. I've got a feeling we will. So I'm going to say 2-0. 2-0. I really want Samson to score. Yeah, just for his confidence. If he's playing, obviously, with the injury,
may not.
Potentially. It was an impact injury, which hopefully means it just got a bit of bruising and might be okay, hopefully. Samson, and I'll say another Jack Payne penalty.
There we go. Yeah. no longer nervous of penalties now.
That's it. It's nice.
We're
it's
even
nice.
predicting them. That is progress by some margin. Si, what are you going for?
Yeah, I agree with Dave. I was thinking 2-0 as well, but for me, it's going to be Reed because the form is in the moment, and Williams is going to go one better and put the ball in the back of the net.
Oh, well, you've set me up here, haven't you? I'm going to have to go for 2-0 after that one fluke where we got it right. Never got it right since when we've all predicted the same thing.
Also won against Cambridge.
Yeah.
So it's twice.
Did we?
Twice. Yeah, we also won.
I think we did.
We are. When we're in sync, we are unstoppable.
Twice in 39 episodes.
Yeah. We have to be in agreement first. But I will go for 2-0. I completely agree, Si. I think Jaden Williams is going to go one better. And I'm going to be the one this week to say it. I want Jack Tucker to get a goal. I hope Jack Tucker pops up with a goal from a set piece. Nice header at the back post. But I'll go with 2-0 Williams and Tucker. Si, Dave, thank you very much for joining me and sharing your thoughts and insights. And thank you to those who are tuning in either on YouTube, Apple, or Spotify. If you haven't already, please do subscribe to us on YouTube. You get all of the episodes first. You get an alert to your phone that tells you that the episode is out, which makes it a lot easier for you to keep up to date with what we're doing. But it also helps push us onto people's feeds and onto people's pages, and it helps us reach a few more Colchester United fans. Same with the reviews on Spotify and Apple. A 5-star on Spotify really helps us sort of go up the charts. There's other football clubs that have podcasts, and we want to overtake them in the charts a little bit, mainly Ipswich, because that would be lovely. And we actually had our first Apple review in the last month or so.
Oh.
A 5-star review.
I was going to say, good, okay.
Yeah.
Peregrine in January wrote, because it's not one that I check. I don't have Apple. I'm Spotify. So went on to Apple to share the link for the episode and noticed that we had this lovely 5-star review. Really kind words, really appreciate it. Whoever Peregrine is, we really appreciate it. But it really does help, 5 stars and writing a review as well. It just, again, bumps us up a little bit. And if we need motivation, it could put us above Ipswich in the charts, which I really want to happen. Begging finished. Let's finish the podcast. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you next week. Up the U's.